Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do.
Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does.
When I was 11 years old, Dad drove our family from Melbourne up to Sydney to watch the Socceroos try to qualify for the FIFA World Cup for the first time in 32 years. And when John Aloisi scored that penalty, I remember the stadium erupted, grown men were crying, strangers were hugging each other, and I remember thinking, this is incredible. I haven't felt anything like this in my life before. And so after that moment, I kind of thought, if I could make my working life and my career dedicated to working in sport, then that would be a pretty good way to spend my career. G'day guys, welcome to the SportsGrad Method Program. If you're here, it's probably because you want to spend your working life doing something that actually makes a difference and makes an impact and that you actually enjoy. Maybe you're at the start of your career and you want a long, enjoyable career, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle and you've had enough with whatever you're doing right now and you can't bear to go back to it for another day. Whatever it is, you're in the right place, because the reality is we spend a third of our lives at work, which ends up being about 90,000 hours in your entire life. So you might as well spend it doing something you actually enjoy. Now, somewhere on the journey, you fell in love with sport and thought, I would love to work in sport one day. But one day became 1 year, maybe 1 year became 1 decade, and now you're feeling stuck and it's too hard to get out of there. Or maybe you're right at the start of your career and you're thinking, I don't want to go the next 40, 45 years of my life doing something I don't enjoy. Wherever you're at in your journey, the reality is that the older you get, the harder it becomes to work in sport. And so with every day and every year that goes by, that dream starts to dissipate and you stay exactly where you are. But to be honest, what's worse than that is that if you don't go after what you really want in life and with your career, you're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life. If you don't leave any stone unturned, you're going to be living with that thought of, what if I actually gave this a proper shot? What if I actually chased the career of my dreams? So whatever your dream is, whether you want to work in football or in cricket or in netball or basketball, doesn't matter. You owe it to yourself and that kid who fell in love with sport to actually go after the career that you've always wanted. And that, my friend, is where we come in. SportsGrad exists to help you live the dream in sport, and we've done it over 700 times.
So my name's Caitlin. I'm a digital designer and I'm at Tennis Australia now.
About to start at Cricket Australia, so it's been much quicker than I was expecting, and yeah, I'm really excited.
I got the job through SportsGrad.
My name is Tom Blazic and I'm an Elite Athlete Program Officer at UQ Sport.
Since I joined the program, I've started diving into AFL in terms of game development officer, another casual role I'm balancing.
Being part of the SportsGrad program has paid off on a personal level many times over, more than I could ever imagine.
I've been able to find a role as a head coach, AFL head coach at Hill Sports.
Since joining the program, actually very recently, I've gained 2 roles. One is at Sydney FC, it's a fan engagement programs coordinator, and the other is with the St George Dragons as a casual match day events assistant.
Now, you've probably heard that the sports industry is extremely competitive to get into, and that is true. And that's because there is an oversupply of people who love sport, who want to work in sport, and an undersupply of jobs that are actually available, which means trying to get a job in sport is kind of like queuing up for the hottest nightclub in town, except there's a 3-hour line, you're at the back, and there's a bouncer at the door letting one in and one out.
So much competition in the industry. You just get in the program that gives you a head start and then build up on that.
And so as a result of all these people who love sport and want to work in sport, you end up with these jobs that have over 500 applicants per role. And what it means is you probably are not going to hear back from the recruiter because they've got so many people to try and filter through, which means you don't actually get any feedback about what you're doing wrong. You're kind of left in the dark and you're left spinning your tires in the mud, which means people like Shiv end up with a folder with over 250 resumes in it from unsuccessful applications. Now, Shiv was the very first person I worked with in SportsGrad, and he came to me with 250 applications until we worked together and helped him get out of this position.
I'm pretty sure there's been at least more than 250 or 300 different cover letters, which translates to that many number of job applications and number of resumes and different versions of resumes. So yeah, it was a bit of a grind sort of breaking into the sport industry back then. And
And so because you've got so many people who are trying to work in sport, what the sports industry has is not a recruitment problem, but a filtering problem. They're trying to sort out who's actually good very, very quickly. And so the way that they do that is they turn to their network first and the network's network first. And that creates a bubble known as the hidden job market. Now, the hidden job market accounts for 80% of jobs in sport. And what it is literally people saying, I need someone to help me right now. Who do I know? I go to that person and make a hire. And it never reaches a job board, and people who are outside of the sports industry never see or hear about these roles. That accounts for 80% of jobs. And if you're not on the inner circle of the hidden job market, you are literally going for the minority of roles that are available in sport. So if you're one of the people who are stuck on the outside, forced to keep going for the 20% of jobs that are on job boards, it's a surefire way to end up in job hunter burnout. You're spinning your tires in the mud, you're losing consistency, and it all becomes too much. You end up taking the easy option, going into an industry, going into a job that just gets handed to you, that pays the bills, and you're like, you know what, I tried it, that dream is over, and you are set on that path for a long, long time to come. Okay, so you're probably wondering by now, who the hell is this guy and why is he trying to pep me up to go after my dreams? Well, my name's Reuben Williams. I'm the founder of SportsGrad. I used to work at Cricket Australia and I started SportsGrad to help other people land their dream job in sport. And that is what I'm here to help you with. The reason why I'm doing this is because I know what it feels like to try and get a job in sport. For 5 years, I struggled to break into the industry. I studied across 3 different degrees. I dropped out, I failed exams, I tried to network, no one wanted to talk to me. I sent messages on LinkedIn, they got left on scene. I was too scared to pick up the phone and call people. I've been through it all, trust me. And so after going through a 5-year slog of trying to break into the sports industry, which felt like this impossible task of pushing a boulder uphill, I finally figured out a method that got me in the door. And once I started applying the method, my career actually began to make progress. But then I found a method, something that actually worked, something that took me from being invisible to the sports industry to being wanted by the sports industry. And after doing this for my final year of university, I landed a job at Cricket Australia before graduating. And in that year, I was the only one out of 400 people who graduated in my cohort to land a full-time job at Cricket Australia. Once people found out that I had got a full-time job in the commercial team at Cricket Australia before graduating, that's when the messages started coming flooding in and people started asking me, Reuben, how the hell did you do this? Can you please teach me your methods? And so that's when I started career coaching people on how to do it. And so I met up with people like Shiv, taught him my methods and helped them start to get job after job after job. So for 3 years, I lived the dream at Cricket Australia, made a great group of friends, absolutely loved my time there. And in the background was doing this career coaching, helping other people get jobs in sport too. But then COVID came along and my job was sadly made redundant. And so that's when I was forced to use my own methods again. And so what ended up happening was I had to go back and basically do what I'd been coaching other people to do. And what I did was I proved that it wasn't just a fluke being able to get a job before graduating. What happened when other people were losing their jobs and being out of work for months at a time and foregoing, tens of thousands of dollars, I said that I was now available for work and I immediately had 12 options land in my inbox. One of them, which turned into a job which offered me $120,000 a year, which at the time doubled my salary. I was on 60K at Cricket Australia. This new job came along and turned that into 120K. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a 26-year-old. How the hell did I get this offer? I thought I, would get to that mark around the time that I'm 30. But to be completely honest with you, I only took up that job a couple of days a week because I had this other little idea in the background, which is called SportsGrad, and I wanted to pursue that. And so eventually I said, I don't want to do this. I want to help other people get dream jobs in sport too. And went down the noble path of entrepreneurship, which leads us here today, 5 years later. Since then, I've been helping recent graduates, career swappers, as well as people who are looking for their next job in the sports industry, apply a systematic framework and method to land jobs time and time again, which has helped people land over 700 roles in the sports industry. On that journey, there was one particular guy back in 2021. His name was Brant Hubber, and he called me up and he just landed a partnerships role at the AFL. And he called me up and he was so excited to kind of tell me about the new job that he'd landed. And right at the end of it, he said, yeah, so the SportsGrad method works, mate. And I was like, that's a great name. I might borrow that.
Jumped on the phone and let you know the SportsGrad method works, but I didn't think it would turn into the name of the program.
So what is the SportsGrad Method Program? Well, the program is the fastest path to land a dream job in sport. And it's designed to help you land a job in 90 days or less. And if you don't get one, you can stay in the program until you do.
So I joined the program about the middle of January, hoping that I would find something, hopefully by April. It's the 7th of February today. I've moved to Melbourne, about to start at Cricket Australia. So it's been much quicker than I was expecting, and yeah, I'm really excited.
So the main outcome I achieved through the program was I was able to land a job at the Supreme Court of Victoria as an associate to a Supreme Court Justice within about a month from joining the program, and that was using the systems that we'd created together and knowing that it was working towards a longer term goal that Reuben and I had worked on.
So here's how it works. What we're going to do is we're going to take you from being industry ready to industry wanted. Industry ready is when you've got a degree or you've got some experience, but you probably undersell yourself, you don't understand the value that you've got to offer, and your resume is getting lost in the pile of hundreds. And when you do this, you're kind of like a house that's sitting in the middle of the forest with a for sale sign up the front, hoping someone walks past it and offers you $1 million for your house. And you've probably had that for sale sign up in front of the house for years. Industry wanted is what happens after you join the SportsGrad Method Program. You know how to sell yourself, you know how to sell your potential, you're competing within a competitive advantage. People know you, people trust you, they understand what you've got to offer. Your name gets picked out of a pile of resume because they see that it's you, and you're competing with a competitive advantage no matter what your experience is and no matter what degree you've done in the past. In fact, you don't even need a degree to become industry wanted in the sports industry.
I think being a part of the program has definitely helped me to grow with confidence.
With the program, I think the SportsGrad Method Program, it helps you really understand who you are as a professional.
In the past, we've helped teachers, engineers, consultants, even there was a bloke who had owned a wine bar, never went to uni. All of these people get jobs in sport. So it doesn't really matter what you've come from. We can help you become industry wanted in the sports industry. Okay, so how does it actually work? Well, the first thing you have to recognize is that you are part of the sports industry talent funnel, whether you like it or not. And there are 3 stages to it: top, middle, and bottom. At the top, you've got the people who the sports industry do not know, and those are the ones going to the job boards for the jobs. In the middle, you've got the people who the sports industry knows of. And down the bottom, you've got the people who the sports industry knows really well. And your job is to get from the top to the bottom, because that's where the hidden job market exists, and that's where people are picking people out because they know them and they trust them and get them into a role in sport. So to get you from the top to the bottom, what we do is we start with a 4-week sprint to show you how to become industry wanted. What we're going to do is we're going to show you how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn that builds your authority and builds awareness of who you are, so people can actually have an understanding of what you've got to offer. For example, we did this with a guy called Tom Blazic up in Brisbane. Previously, he was a substitute teacher, and we helped him grow his LinkedIn following by 294% in less than 3 months, and that helped him land a job in athlete wellbeing, which is extremely hard to do no matter what you've come from, because it's a space that's saturated by athletes, let alone a substitute teacher. So Tom started at 225 followers when I met him, and then he's grown it up to 600 odd, and now it's probably 800, 900 if you go and look him up.
When I was applying for jobs without industry connections and a personal brand on LinkedIn, it felt like a bit of a Hail Mary, just applying for jobs and hoping for the best. Yeah, so my connections and followers on LinkedIn grew very quickly as a result of posting consistently and doing a series on LinkedIn, and through that I had made connections with a number of people that I'd looked up to in the industry that are leading the athlete wellbeing space, so that was very exciting and rewarding.
Next, once you're industry wanted and you know how to sell yourself into the sports industry, then we're going to push you out into the world and connect you with hidden opportunities and introduce you to people.
I was able to get introduced to people at the AFL, at Sports Advisory Partners Australia, at IMG, former NRL, and a lot of different organisations in Australia and also around the world within 3 months.
So for example, at the start of the year, Cricket Australia came to me and said, "Hey Reuben, we need someone to start in the partnerships team yesterday. Who do you know?" So I go to the people in the program and I say, "Hey, who's interested in this role?" And I send them 3 names. One of them was Dante McDonald. He gets in touch with Cricket Australia within 2 days, and within 2 weeks, he has been offered the job and he's packing up his life in Adelaide, moving across to Melbourne, and is now working in the partnerships team at Cricket Australia in the shadows of the MCG in the lead up to a men's Ashes summer. Meanwhile, everyone else is kind of like, where are all the jobs in sport? Because this job never get advertised. And so that's what we're able to do for people in the program, bring them these job opportunities that you would never be able to find anywhere else.
In the new cohort, he's added a mentorship. I think that was a game changer, where somebody from the industry is already guiding you.
The next thing we do is we pair you with an industry mentor, someone who's actually been there and done before that you can lean on to understand the sport better or understand how your specific function or role works in the sports industry. And some of the people we got putting their hands up to mentor people coming into the industry are absolutely phenomenal. Talking about heads of at the AFL, Cricket Australia, Football Australia, rugby, you name it, like the amount of smart people who have been in the industry for years and years who want to pay it forward and help you guys has been incredible. And so that's what we do next. Make sure you've got someone to lean on to keep you accountable and be your person on the inside of the industry.
My industry mentor is Caitlin. She is at Tennis Australia at the moment.
Reuben has partnered me with Ari Mansfield from the GWS Giants. He works as a head of sales at Giants.
I was really excited to meet Kabir, really excited to kind of see where he wants to go and how I can help him out. And yeah, I'm keen to chat to him more, understand where he wants to go and how I can really add value to his journey.
You're also going to get access to me. So for the last 10 years, I've been thinking about how to land jobs in sport systematically with a proven method. For 5 years, I did it for myself. For the next 5, 6, 7, whatever up to now, I have been distilling everything I've learned from coaching people how to do it and listening to people who have told their story on my podcast, of which there's over 300 episodes, including people from the NFL, NBA, Premier League, AFL, cricket, you name it, I've talked to them. And I've distilled all that knowledge down into a method that you can follow to land jobs in sport. So what that means is every single week you can rock up to a Q&A call with myself and I can help you unlock your situation and help you make progress. I'm going to be delivering all the workshops for you in the 4-week sprints as well, so you're getting absolutely the best information, and each cohort builds on the next to make sure that you're getting the most up-to-date way of landing a job in sport. You're also going to get access to the SportsGrad Method curriculum with over 60 lessons, which are basically step-by-step playbooks on how to do everything. So there's absolutely no guesswork. I've been there, I've tried it, taken the guesswork out, so you can literally rock up, watch a video, watch the activity that I've got there and implement the method and start to get closer to that job in sport. You're also going to join the SportsGrad community, which is a collective of off-field athletes who are all pushing each other to be better, who are all going to step into the industry one day and start to work with each other and grow the industry together. And so what that does is it gives you a community that you can lean on for support, for questions, for motivations, for accountability, and grow your career in sport together. And then you never know 10 years down into the future where you guys will end up. But one thing that's become really, really cool is people saying to me, oh, we met through SportsGrad. Look, basically what I'm trying to say is that everything you could possibly ever need to land a job in sport is in this program. You name it, we covered it, and if it's not there, I'm building it in real time.
Really, Reuben's incredibly down to earth and very astute. He knows how to listen and identify problems you didn't even realize you had.
Anyway, don't just take my word for it. I've lined up a whole bunch of paid actors for you, so have a listen to what these guys have got to say.
Yeah, the program has absolutely been worth the investment. Not just because now it's landed myself a role in something that I've always dreamed of, but it's just built my confidence that I can belong in this field and in a career like this. And I think that in itself you can't put a monetary value on.
100% it was worth it. It's paid off in a job, but even if it didn't, it would be worth it. Just the way I'm setting my life up now and setting up like vision for the future and goal setting and things like that, it would be worth it just for that. Obviously it's paid off in an awesome opportunity and an awesome job, so yeah, 100% it's paid for itself.
If you really want something and you need help doing it, you do need to spend a little bit. I think that definitely helps in the results. So yeah, I think the value is definitely there.
I got the job through SportsGrad, the program in particular, the accelerator program. Reuben introduced me to the right person and steered me in the right direction around who I should be connecting with. One coffee turned into another, which turned into an application for a job that wasn't advertised, which turned into an interview without any other sort of applicants going for it. So in all, it turned into about 4 or 5 different coffees, but I was the sole runner for the fan growth job, and it came off an introduction through the SportsGrad program.
Okay, so now I'm going to let you in on the SportsGrad method and show you how we take you from industry ready to industry wanted. So First thing you have to do is you remember that when you step into the working world, people are going to look at you like you are a product with a specific function. Even though you might be a lovely person and fun to work with, at the end of the day, you're going to get paid to perform a specific set of tasks. And that means that you have to think about selling yourself like any sort of product that performs a specific function. So let's take the example of a house, for example. When you buy a block of land that you can build a house on to sell for more money in the future, start by laying the foundations, put the walls down, put the roof on top, and now you've got a house sitting there on the street that you can sell. But even if you've got the best house on the street, it still doesn't sell itself unless you tell people about it. So the first thing you have to do is actually look inside the house and think about, what has this house got to offer? You know, how many rooms has it got? How many bathrooms has it got? Has it got a backyard? Has it got a second story? And then based on that information, you'll start to figure out, well, who can buy it? Is it ready for a young couple who can renovate it and flip it? Is it ready for a large family who can move straight into it as well, or somebody else? So then you've got to figure out like, okay, who is my ideal buyer for the house that I've got? And so then once you've understood what the house has got to offer and who might be able to buy it, then it's about making a large amount of people aware that it is available for sale. And so what you might do is you run an open inspection, you put an ad in the paper, maybe you run some Instagram ads to it as well. And so through a combination of a large amount of awareness and positioning it to the right buyer in the right way, that is how you get the best sale for your house. So what this has got to do with your career in sport is that the same fundamental principles apply. Because when you come out of university, you have a blank canvas to work on. And you start by putting the foundations down when you pick up experience, when you put the walls down as well. And then finally, once you've picked up experience, done your volunteer work, your internships, the rest of it, you've got a house sitting there on the street ready to sell. But that is where most people stop and they never fulfill their dream. They never reach their potential because of it. They forget that they actually have to understand what they've got to offer and how to sell it out there. So you see these people who have built their house, but they've left it on the street just hoping someone buys it. These are the kind of people who apply for the jobs that have got over 500 applicants and they're getting lost in the pile. These are the kinds of people who, you know, they post once on LinkedIn saying, I'm #open to work, and it's usually their first post in about 6 months, and then in 3 months' time, you see them come back with the same post again saying, hey, I'm still #open to work. That is what you want to avoid, because when you do this, you are the house in the forest that is invisible to everyone else with a for sale sign up out the front, just hoping someone walks past and gives you $1 million for your house. It's just not going to happen. And so that is why houses have real estate agents, but successful careers in sport need you to be the agent of your own career. And that's what we help you with. And this is going to be frustrating for really smart and intelligent people, but the ones who progress in their career and go on to the C-suite jobs, they're not necessarily the smartest people, they're not necessarily the most qualified people, but they are the people who have built the most trust with a large amount of people as possible, and as a result, they get opportunities thrown at them. So if you want to be one of these people that changes the trajectory of their career and makes it to the C-suite, what you need to do is understand what you've got to offer and get a large amount of people to understand that. So what that looks like is growing awareness of yourself on paper, on person, and online. So if we go back to the house analogy, first you've got to understand how many rooms have I got in this house. Then you've got to make sure that you are advertising your house. So once you know that, okay, these are my rooms, these are the bathrooms, effectively, these are the skills and characteristics and qualities I've got to offer, then how can I get more people to understand that? And your ways to get yourself out there and be known for what your house has got to offer are on paper, in person, and online. And typically everyone just sticks to on paper because they're lazy. What you need to do is get yourself out there in person in the right way, and what you need to do is get yourself out there online in the right way. But at the end of the day, it comes down to something I call selling your potential. So a lot of people will stay with selling their experience, and that is what you've got to offer right now. But you know, if you are somewhere in your 20s, even your 30s as well, you can lean on the fact that people are going to hire you not for you what you've got to offer right now, but what you can be in the future. And so when you are getting hired based on your potential, you've got to actually understand what goes into your potential. Your potential is going to be judged based on these 5 levers. Number 1 is your leadership ability. Number 2 is your emotional intelligence. Number 3 is your initiative. Number 4 is your problem-solving ability. And number 5 are your previous results. If you can understand how to factor that into everything you do on paper, everything you do in person, and everything you do online, you're going to go a long, long way to selling yourself into that dream job in sport. So that is just a tip of the iceberg of what we cover inside this program, and we show you how to do it from start to finish. So there's no guesswork. You don't have to figure it out on your own. We've already done it. We've seen it work for hundreds of people before. And what happens when you join the program is you step in, we update the software in your brain, and you step out as someone with the confidence to go after their dreams and knows how to make it happen. And as a result, people resonate with that and the opportunities will come.
For me, the investment was well worth it, the kind of contacts that I made.
Knowing that you've got a system that has integrity behind you, and you know that you're actually clear on what you're working towards and how you're working towards that. So there's a lot of self-assurance, a bit of confidence that comes from that. And it actually sort of comes also from Reuben himself. It kind of emanates from him. He comes across as quite confident and knowledgeable, which he is. And I found that one of the unintentional outcomes of that program was me actually sort of absorbing that confidence and radiating that back out into the world, and that paying off quite well.
When you know how to sell your potential, you can literally go from being an architect working in the construction industry to being a full-time videographer at the Carlton Football Club.
He's not joking, that's me. I'm the guy behind the camera. So I literally said to the Carlton Football Club that I've never picked up a camera before. Now I'm SportsGrad's very own videographer.
Thanks, Bucks. So the way that we do that is we're going to treat you like a product that is for sale. And any serious salesperson knows their numbers. And so what we're going to do is we're going to be tracking all the metrics that actually matter for you so you can make progress. So where that begins is starting with the top and generating your awareness on LinkedIn. So making sure that you're posting once a week at a minimum. And not only just posting once a week, but making sure that you're hitting a minimum 1,000 views per post as well. What we're going to do then is take that LinkedIn awareness and drive it towards your relationships. The next thing we're going to measure is how many messages you're sending to people in the sports industry and what percentage of those you are turning into either a Zoom meeting or a coffee catch up. Because when you understand, if you're operating at 2% or 50%, then we can actually move the needle forward to helping you make progress with growing a network and building that referral network for you.
I found the systems that SportsGrad helped us implement in general could help us communicate our value really well, and I think that really took me to the next level.
The next thing we're going to track is how many people are in your inner circle. So how many people in the sports industry can you actually pick up the phone and call right now? If you're starting at 0, then that's okay. We're here to help as well. But what you want to aim for is a number that's roughly 50% of the market that you are trying to apply for jobs in sport in. So let's say, for example, you want a job in Melbourne. There's roughly 50 sports organisations across national bodies, state bodies, professional teams, leagues, agencies, you name it. Which means, if there's roughly 50 employers, then if you have a contact list or an inner circle of 25 people that you can pick up the phone and call, it means that more often than not, you're going to have someone on the inside of that organisation who can vouch for you. So that is what we help you get up to, that 50% of the market that you are trying to look for a job in. The final metric that we track is how many applications are you turning into interviews. And if you've done the rest of this right, this becomes super, super easy. If you're posting on LinkedIn regularly, if you're turning that into meetings and you're sending out lots of messages and you're converting that into people in your inner circle who are looking out for you, then getting fast tracked through the interview stage is easy. But if you're like our friend Shiv, who previously had applied for 250 jobs unsuccessfully, then this is where we can help. And so most people try and jump right to the end and go, let me just fix my resume. But there's only so many times you can polish a turd before you can't make any meaningful progress on it. And so what we're gonna do is help you fix the top of it so that the bottom of it is successful. So if you're struggling at the moment and less than 25% of your job applications are turning into interviews, or you don't know someone at half the organizations in your market, what we're gonna do is we're gonna help you achieve that, because that's gonna get you closer to that job in sport. So take Shiv Ranjit, for example. He applied for 250 jobs before coming to me, and after working together, we helped him get a job at the ICC, the Rajasthan Royals, Cricket Australia, Motorcycling New South Wales, and Softball New South Wales. Or take Tom, for example, the primary school teacher working as a substitute who was absolutely known by nobody in the sports industry, who within the space of the 3 months took his LinkedIn following from 225 and grew it by 294% to then land a job in athlete wellbeing. But one of the interesting things we found is that the method actually works across different industries too. So one guy called Joel in the program, he used it to get a job in law. He sent me a message that said, Reuben, your methods work in law as well. You helped me land a job at the Supreme Court of Victoria as an associate, and his plan is to come into sport later in life, but he used the SportsGrad Method approach and program to help him land his job in law to get experience to come back into sport later. So no matter where you're at in your career, the SportsGrad Method program can help you make that jump from where you are now to where you want to go. Doesn't matter if you're like Path, who went from banking into community development at the Adelaide Football Club, or if you're like Chelsea, who went from communications into Hockey Australia, or if you're like James, who went from tech recruitment into working for the Melbourne Mavericks Super Netball team in a commercial role. We can help you change careers quickly. Or maybe a recent graduate like Dante, who wants to get a foot in the door quickly and is now working at Cricket Australia. Maybe like Dan as well, who came to us saying, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong anymore, who within a few weeks got a job at the New South Wales Swifts. Or you're like Laura, who we also helped get another job at Cricket Australia. We can help you decrease the time between graduating university and your first full-time job in sport. Or maybe you're trying to move overseas as well. You might be like Pranav, who came here from India, Shekhar as well. Both of them we help get jobs at Cricket Australia. Or George Ludlow, who came from London to Melbourne, who was working in property over there and now works in agency land over here, or vice versa as well. We've helped people like Michael Long go the other way and land at the FA based out of Wembley as well. Okay, so if you've gotten this far, you've probably got a few questions in mind. And one of them might be, when is the right time to join the program? Well, it's kind of like asking, when is the right time to start training for a marathon? Because the day that you start job hunting is the day that you've started your race. Now, just like running, building up your job hunting ability takes time and is a muscle that you can grow over time. Because what we're going to work on is building your awareness, building your ability to connect, and building your ability to sell yourself as well. And all of that takes time. So there is a bit of a lag effect. So if you think backwards from when you want the job, say 3 months, that's the perfect time to do it. So if you want a dream job, 6 months from now or 3 months from now, now's probably the perfect time to start. Or if you really want to make sure of it and you're looking for a dream job in sport 12 months from now and you don't want to leave anything to chance, now's a good time to get in the program and build up that skill set super early so you give yourself that competitive advantage. But the worst thing that can happen is you go through the process and your dream job becomes available and you're not prepared. You don't want to see your dream job pop up and think, gosh, I wish I was ready for this.
I think obviously if you're a new graduate, but I would also say if you're looking for a career change or if you're looking to crack into the sports industry, I think it's a great opportunity for you there.
It's 100 times the return on investments for me.
Now you might also be wondering, how much time is this going to take? Now let's zoom out for a second. The goal is to help you get a job in sport. So if you think about all the different things that you are doing to try and get a job in sport, whether that be studying or applying for jobs, this fits in the same category as that. So don't think about, how much extra time is this going to be taking to get to a job in sport. I would be thinking about how can this replace what I'm already doing that might already be ineffective that can get you there quicker. So if you've got job hunting time in your weekly calendar at the moment, factor this in to replace that with a better method of going about it. But look, at the end of the day, we've all got the same amount of time. We've all got 168 hours in the week. It's up to you if you want to spend your nights watching White Lotus or go on a steak night, or if you want to put in the time to make your dreams come true. So I wouldn't be asking, how can I fit it in? I'd be asking, can I afford not to fit this in?
I remember in our first meeting, Reuben pointed out something to me, which I really needed to hear actually. I was sitting around, options floating, sort of in a stagnated state, and Reuben said something along the lines of, well, life's not going to wait for you. You either jump in or it moves. And it was something I needed to hear.
Now you might also be wondering, well, what if I can't give it 100%? Well, to be honest, there's no prizes for completing the program. The goal is get you a job. So even if it only takes you 2 workshops and 1 Q&A call to get you a job, then that's a success. There are no certificates for completing the program. I don't believe in a flimsy bit of paper that means nothing, that just gives you a false sense of achievement to say, I did a thing, and you can post a graphic on LinkedIn that I'm not going to give you. But I don't believe in certificates. The goal is get you a job. And so It doesn't matter if you only use 10% of the program or 100% of the program, whatever helps you get to that job, that is what we're here to help you with.
One of the other things that stood out to me about Reuben was that he was so encouraging. It can be really vulnerable sometimes for you to reveal a dream or a goal, something that a lot of your mates would probably laugh at and be like, you know, settle down. Reuben wasn't like that. He was always encouraging and said, I want you to be this way, and that's actually changed my mindset a lot.
You might also be wondering, well, what if it doesn't work for me? And to be honest, nobody knows if it's going to work for them. Because when you're trying something new, you do have to hold on to this belief that it will work out. So people like Dante, he had no idea if it would work for him, but he put in the work. So all I ask is that you are willing to show up, that you're coachable, that you're willing to follow what I say, and if you apply the method, then results will come. But if you're going to say like, no, I'm not sure this will work for me, I'm going to stick to what I know, then feel free to carry on getting the results you're currently getting.
The SportsGrad Method Program has definitely been worth the investment. I definitely recommend it to everyone who's looking for a role and who would like to either fast track things or just needs an extra little push or help in the right direction.
Now, if you're ready to join the program, at the end of the day, we don't let absolutely anybody in. There is an application process and we do vet people to make sure only the right kind of people are in our program. On top of that, we only let a capped number of people in per cohort as well. So if you are of the same belief of us that, you know, you've got one life, it's not worth wasting on a career that you don't enjoy, and you love sport and you want to make an impact in the industry and you're willing to do whatever it takes, well, the SportsGrad Method is your way to leave no stone unturned. And if you're motivated, you're willing to put in the work, then this can be the program that changes your career and your life. So if you're ready to get started, hit the apply button, fill out your details, and we'll chat soon.
If you're thinking about it, just do it. There's honestly no harm in it. That's my thing. Like, I have nothing to lose by doing this, and yeah, that's what I've got so far. So yeah, just give it a go. You never know what's going to happen.
It's a very close-knit community and I'm sure it'll do wonders. Even for someone who's got an experience like me, definitely for a fresher, it's a no-brainer. You just have to go for it.
Anyone thinking of joining the program, I would definitely recommend it. I'd say go for it. The sooner you do it, the better. It will give you that head start. It'll cut out some obstacles for you, and I don't think you'll regret it.
I'll say what Reuben said to me when I was thinking about the same thing. You can wait for the right opportunity to come. That might never happen, and the world might pass you by, or you can jump in with both feet and basically guarantee yourself a shot at your dreams.
If you want to work in sport, show you're serious about it. Volunteer in sport and get involved with SportsGrad.
If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking, don't settle.